Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for our career conversation series. We are very excited to have Anton Paar with us here today. And speaking with us is Dalton Echard, who is the Apprenticeship Program Manager. So we're very excited to hear all about their career opportunities and all the wonderful advice he has for our students. I'm going to go ahead and hand this over to Mr. Echard. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks, Ms. Corbin. Today, I just want to give everyone a little introduction into what Anton Paar is, how to get involved in career opportunities for like more hands-on related STEM careers, as well as give some just general how to get into careers advice. So I just want to start by initially talking about like how to get involved. So Anton Paar offers an apprenticeship, and how do I get involved in an apprenticeship in the first place? How do I get involved if I'm applying for more of a career-based next step after school? So the first thing is to start looking early, and you probably hear this over and over again, but the reality is there's a good deal of opportunities out there. You just have to start looking for them. Very often you'll get opportunities like this, and this is you looking yourselves right now to just get some exposure to what opportunities there are out there. 10 career days. This is yet another career day opportunity for you. May they be in person or digital. And it's kind of opens your minds to, am I interested in something STEM related, something business related, art related? There could be a lot of different things. One of the best things you can do, though, is once you have an idea on, ooh, this sounds interesting, is reach out to an employer. A professional email goes a really, really long way. It shows not only interest, but it also shows that you're someone who actually wants and can do the potential role. So sending out an email that's set up as a professional email, like, hello, my name is blank, I was interested in blank. That's a big step. When you have an opportunity to visit an employer, that's an even better way to go about things. Meeting people is huge. So getting a chance to talk to someone in person and potentially see what they really do is another great step to really find your way to a potential career. You also get a better idea on what that company actually does. I know for sure Anton Paar will talk about a bit more what we do is a really ambiguous company when you hear about it just from the name. So walking in and see what they do helps a lot. Focusing on your passions, again, you might be interested in STEM now, you might be interested in medical things. There's a lot of potential passion someone could have. And if you're following something that you like, you'll be taken more seriously in the career world because, well, you're happy to be there. And the last one, I really hope you've heard this one before, but if not, have a resume ready. A resume, even if it's something that's really basic, can go a long way just to be able to send it out quickly. It might take you an hour of your time now, but it can save you a lot of time and headache in the future. And responding with a resume quickly after you've reached out to an employer, say, hi, I'm interested, is a really good way to show that you're being serious versus, oh, let me put that together, I'll get it to you in a week. A question I get all the time is, what skills do I need? And so the skills that you learn in high school are very important because they kind of give you the fundamentals for the skills that you need in the real career world, but they're not necessarily the exact same. So I got a picture here of someone who's studying a material. They're using some kind of high-end microscopy. There's someone in the background doing another test. When I'm looking for a potential apprentice, they don't need to know how to do these things, but they need to know how to learn how to do these things. So the skills that you need now are how to write that email. Again, that's a really important step in the modern business world, is to say, putting your best foot forward and describing what your actual goals are in a pseudo-professional way. Don't be afraid to talk on the phone. I know this is a big jump for a lot of people that are texting back and forth constantly now. I mean, that's my life too. But the reality is you're presenting yourself in a much more serious way when you're talking over the phone versus purely digital and just sending back some kind of emails or text. So a phone call is really important for a next step. So get some skills there. Show you can be on time. This one should sound really silly, but if an employee is showing up late over and over again, they're not taken seriously. So this is a really simple skill that you can have, which is just budgeting that extra 15 minutes to actually get to where you're going, or showing up 5 minutes early to make sure that, hey, I'm here, I'm ready to go when work or whatever it is actually starting. Show flexibility. This one's really big because the style of work that you'll probably start doing is very unlikely the style of work that you'll end doing 5 years later, 10 years later, down in your career. You're constantly growing, you're constantly learning. And if you show flexibility, capability of doing multiple things, learning multiple things, you're just showing that you're a more skilled individual, which leads into the ability to learn. You want to show that you can continue to grow and learn with whatever career you're following. And last, a skill really is a positive attitude. If you look like you're disappointed to be at work every day, you're not going to be taken seriously. And if you show up to an interview kind of like, my mom made me be here, it's going to be very easily seen by the person that you're essentially asking, hey, can I work for you? Can I start this opportunity where ultimately my goal is to make money? So with that, I want to talk a bit about what Anton Paar is, because again, very ambiguous company. And what we do is we make scientific instruments. Kind of a phrase that most people haven't heard. When I think instruments, they probably think like a violin or a trombone, but scientific instruments are things that measure stuff. So if you use a clock that measures time, a ruler that measures length, those are simple scientific instruments. We make the more complex ones. So for an example, here's a day with Anton Paar, and this isn't what you're doing on the job, but this is what you're currently doing now, living your everyday lives, that Anton Paar touches. So you wake up in the morning and you're having some cereal. It's got some sugar in it. You have coffee, you put a little sugar in it. Maybe you have some honey on your yogurt. Those are all different sugars. Maybe you've heard sucrose, saccharose, fructose, glucose, lactose, high fructose corn syrup. Those are all different sugars, and we can help identify which sugar is which and how much is going into a food product that you've had. After you have breakfast, you brush your teeth, and you take that toothpaste out, you squeeze it onto your toothbrush, and you think absolutely nothing of it because it works right. Toothpaste is a really complicated material, actually. Inside of its tube, it's a solid, it holds its shape. Actually, if you cut open a tube of toothpaste, it won't move anywhere. But if you apply just a little bit of force, it gets flowing. It's going to go onto that toothbrush nice and easy. This doesn't happen by accident. Scientists and engineers study the properties of toothpaste to make sure it moves properly onto your toothbrush. After you brush teeth, you're heading out to school, you're heading out to work, and the fact that your car engine starts right away means you put the good gas inside of it. Good for you. And that's because, well, the gas you put in your car is probably different than diesel fuel, which is different than jet fuel. We're identifying which type of fuel is which. And when you're driving down the road, seeing that the roads aren't cracked or warped means that the material that makes the road is appropriate for the environment that it's in. The asphalt, the little black sticky stuff between the rocks that gets put down in Maine or California or Texas is all different because they have different climate conditions. Then you have lunch and you have a soda and you open it up and hear that sound. Well, great. If it didn't have that, you think it's really weird. We're the ones measuring how much dissolved carbon dioxide is inside of that drink, so you get that bubbly feeling. We're also measuring the dissolved oxygen because oxygen makes stuff go bad. You've ever cut open an avocado and it goes brown, that's it going bad, it's oxidizing. So the less oxygen inside of that drink, the better. We're also looking at the amount of sugar inside of that drink. And we do that through a density measurement because the density of water is known, the density of sugar is known. So if I get a density measurement of a combination of the two, it tells you the concentration of that sugar. After lunch, you have dessert, and maybe you're a big fan of chocolate. I like chocolate. And if you ever put it on your tongue, it starts to melt, and that's just how you should be feeling that. Measuring the melt temperature of chocolate is another thing that we could potentially do. You get back home, and you put your clothes into the laundry, they're real dirty, and the detergent just takes off all that dirt. We can look at the charge of something like a detergent to see how well that'll work. So for example, the dirt has one charge, the detergent has an opposite charge, they connect and pop off. I can also look at the concentration of detergent inside of that mixture that is detergent and water in the big jug that I pour into the laundry. And that I can also do through a density measurement, much like measuring the amount of sugar inside of a drink. I can also look at different kinds of paints and how they actually go on the wall. For example, the chemistry of paint is shockingly complicated, and I want to make sure that paint, when I brush it, will flow into the right place, but not continue to flow and sag off the wall. And at the end of the day, Anton Paar is actually the world leader in measuring alcoholic beverages as well, and your very own cell phone. So you want to see how scratch resistant that screen is or how long that battery life is going to last. So we make this technology and we look for individuals that can service it, make sure it's working correctly, describe the science of it, or try to sell it to the companies that are using this technology to make their products better that you're the one actually receiving in the end. So if you're interested in more STEM related types of study, as well as this hands-on style of work with this type of instrumentation, how do you get involved? So what Anton Paar offers is initially a 2-week interview where you get a chance to get some hands-on exposure to the things that we do, actually trying out some of these instruments, making sure you can fix them, actually get inside, learn about the nuts and bolts of it all. And from there, we have a 3-year apprenticeship. Now, this is really the big end goal for our apprentices, is to be part of this 3-year apprenticeship where you get hands-on exposure for a long time, really develop your skills with the company, with the end goal of being a service engineer who's actually repairing these instruments and making sure the measurements are correct, an application specialist who understands how the instrument functions at a very high level and understands how all these different types of materials can be measured and the scientific value of that, or a technical sales representative who also understands the scientific value of the instruments with the goal of selling them to companies that need this technology to benefit their products. After these 3 years, you'll work as a full-time employee, and during this time, you'll also be given an associate's degree. So we pay for the entirety of the associate's degree, no questions asked on your end. There's also an optional back-to-school program for higher degrees if that's your personal goal or it's needed for further career development. Now, this does lead to a full-time employment and continued education for anyone who's involved in our apprenticeship program. So the starting salary for someone fresh out of the program is $40,000. And this role we call a technical trainee. So you still have some time to learn, still have some time to grow, and this is just your starting point. Upon completion of the program, new employees are expected to work with Anton Paar for at least 5 years, but during this time, you're consistently growing, learning more, continuing to develop and grow to higher roles. So our advanced positions, which can typically happen with only a couple years of being out of the program, the starting salaries can range from $50,000 to significantly more depending on the track and your current skill set. So these values you're seeing in front of you, these are actually the starting salaries for just a couple years out of the program and can grow significantly from there. A lot of our current vice presidents are post-apprentices, as well as our current CEO. There's also a tuition assistance program. So a student who says, hey, I've done really well in this program, I want to continue to grow. Maybe I want to get a bachelor's degree in engineering or chemistry, maybe something business related, can have the opportunity to go back to school, and we'll pay up to $10,000 per year to continue that growth. Well, first of all, I want to thank everyone for taking a little bit of time to listen in on what I have to say. If you have any interest, that's my picture down there. That's me, Dalton Echard. And please feel free to send me an email or give me a call. Prior every year to our apprenticeship program kicking off, we have open houses. This year, they'll be at the end of November and early December. So that'll be 2021, the end of November, early December. And our applications are due towards the end of the winter and early spring. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out, and I look forward to hearing from some of you.
Thank you so much for joining us today. This information is wonderful for our students, and your career advice was invaluable. Thank you so much. We appreciate it.